Hey everybody, this is Laura DiCarlo of Career Directors International here, and we're talking all things ultimate success without the stress for resume writers and career coaches. I'm super excited to be here with you today. Listen, we're currently streaming on CDI's LinkedIn page, our Facebook group, and our YouTube channel. But this is really important if you're joining me here through Facebook. And yeah, this is just me doing this here today. So I'm not super good at where all my things are located. But if you're coming through Facebook, you're going to want to go to chat.restream.io/FB and give permission so that I can see your name. That way in the chat, I will see your name versus Facebook user. I really don't know why I often can't see LinkedIn users, but hey, I'm going to leave that up there for anybody who needs to find that link. As you can tell, I am getting over the flu. I sound really, really terrible, so forgive me. I will do my best here. I've got great information despite sounding like a frog. So this is our regular Wednesday show where I'll be empowering resume writers and career coaches to up their game with advanced technical skills, business shortcuts, and strategies to succeed with ease. If you've been joining me here weekly, we've been focused on learning what's working and what's not in career industry businesses today by tapping into the results of CDI's recent critical industry analysis survey. And hey, if you don't know me yet, my goal is to become your not so secret superpower. At Career Directors International, we are providing all the tools, scripts, done for you resources, training, and support you need to love and excel at what you do so you can make a difference while creating an exceptional living. And hey, something very important that I mentioned last week, if you're not an association member or part of the Career Industry Accelerator Club yet, your Cyber Week offers are ending in 2 days on Friday, December 1st. That's 34% off annual membership, 33% off monthly membership, joining the Career Accelerator Club at 63% off. And then we have one other great offer too. But this is really important. For the first time in 19 years, we're going to close registration for both the association membership and the Career Industry Accelerator Club on December 15th. So if you've been putting off joining, now is the time, folks. You got to act now so you don't end up on the wait list. So, all right, today's topic is, as you can see here on your screen, LinkedIn posting as a high ROI marketing strategy for career industry pros. But we're not going to get into that quite yet. I've got 3 things I want to challenge you to do first. The first is to say hello to me in the chats. So if this is your first time joining me, you're completely new to me and CDI, give me a hashtag newbie, NEWBIE, or whatever hashtag you want to give me. Entertain me. I'm excited to see what somebody might put. If you are a CDI Association member or you're in our Facebook group community, our free community, you can throw me a hashtag SUPES, SUPES, for our career industry superheroes. So I'm not seeing anything coming up yet, but I will keep monitoring that. The second thing I'm going to ask you to do is, if you have questions today as I'm talking and sharing strategies, please go ahead and throw those in the chat. And it's always really helpful if you can put the word question at the beginning so that I'm aware that I have a question there and not just a comment. Sometimes folks get chatting back and forth, and that can be really helpful that you let me know. And then finally, third, be sure to like, subscribe, and follow so you don't miss when I go live every week. That's every Wednesday at 3:45 p.m. Eastern. So, okay, let's get into it without any further ado. We're talking about, still on the screen, LinkedIn posting as a high ROI marketing strategy for career industry pros. And I'm just going to take that down and make sure I have the chat back up. Okay. All right. So before we veered into the Tory Resume Writing Award winners last week, we did that because it was a holiday week, and also because we knew people were eager to find out who won and if they were winners. It was all very exciting, and I'm still getting tagged in posts as recently as today. But before that, we were talking the lowest and highest ROI marketing strategies in 2023 for resume writers and career coaches. Again, as we uncovered in the critical industry analysis survey. So we've taken deep dives into customer referrals as the #1 strategy, and partnerships and professional referrals as the #2 strategy. Once again, no charts, no slides today, yay. We're just going to jump right into talking about posting on LinkedIn. So the first thing I just want to address really quickly is I keep seeing, and I'm sorry about the lozenge. I know it's giving me extra chipmunk cheeks, but it is what it is. But I want to address something I keep seeing popping up, and that is folks that are saying that posting on LinkedIn is no longer a successful strategy for gaining sales conversions. And, please take that with a grain of salt, because obviously if that were true, it wouldn't come in as the #3 highest grossing marketing strategy for resume writers and career coaches in the past 6 months or so of 2023. Obviously the surveys, so just say 2023. But here's what you have to understand. A lot of people who don't think it works are using more of a spray and pray strategy. It's not a one and done sort of thing. This is not an overnight path to success. It's a process of creating a community of engaged followers. And that can be a very powerful thing to do. So if you're somebody who's only posted here and there and seen nothing from it, it's a lot like, you're probably not old enough to remember this, but old school marketing, putting an ad in the newspaper or sending out one mailer. You were told by companies not to expect anything from that. There needed to be consistency to build awareness for your brand. And it is the same thing today with social media, is that you can't just be like, oh, I'm going to post today and maybe I'll come back next week, or I'm going to post for 5 days in a row and I'm not going to engage with comments or comment on anybody else's post. Yeah, you're going to be lucky to get anywhere, because with the algorithm, you're not doing the things that are going to equate with success. But if you're willing to commit to a thoughtful nurture sequence and don't let the terror of low likes and comments get you down, LinkedIn posting can become an important tool in your marketing strategies. And I mentioned the whole low likes and comments because it's a pretty interesting thing that happens when you're posting. And you're like, well, nobody's liking or commenting on it, but it might not work. But I have a story that I'm going to share in just a second here of where it did work, even though I had very few followers and I wasn't really getting likes or comments at all. But before I do that, let me ask you guys, how many of you are actively posting more than 4 times a week on LinkedIn currently? If you'll let me know that in the chat, I would love that. Looking at the chat, I don't see anything yet. Am I here by myself, people? Gosh, I hope not. All right, so let me give you a couple of examples of interesting scenarios where LinkedIn worked despite having few followers and few, what seemed like very little traction. So the first one, now this wouldn't work today, but there are new things emerging every day and opportunities for you to stand out. So I was a very early adopter in posting native. Hey, Wes, welcome. I'm so glad to see somebody here with me. So I was an early adopter of posting a native video to LinkedIn. And native video, just to be clear, it's pretty much the standard today. But back when we first started doing video online, a lot of times you were just connecting to where the video lived on a different place, like on YouTube. But native video is where you're posting it directly on the platform. So I got the idea to start posting tips, and I gave a lot of thought to what were the questions I was consistently being asked. What were the mistakes and bad advice I heard being passed out? What were those hot point topics that my audience, who are resume writers and career coaches, really needed to know? And I just kept adding to a list in the note file of my iPhone. And then once a month, I would get all prettied up and set up my ring light and everything. And I would film as many under 10-minute tip videos as I could. I'm one of those people who can just go off the cuff and talk on a subject. So I could usually do them in one take. But then I would just post one each week. And for every video I posted, gosh, I might get one like, sometimes no likes, but every one of them was leading to somebody who was in my sphere of influence, people who were already members of CDI and knew of me, inquiring, and I was making a $2,700 one-to-one consulting sale every single week. And that went on until, of course, I'd have to put people on a waiting list because I can only have so many clients at a time. But to me, that spoke huge volumes that you can't get caught up on how many people are liking and commenting. A lot of people are lurkers. If you look up, I don't have statistics right now, but if you look it up, you will discover that the majority of people, they just look. They don't engage in any way on social. And so it doesn't mean what you're writing isn't being seen. And so you can't let yourself be discouraged by that. And my other example is, and this is one you can all take advantage of immediately, and I'm going to be talking more about how to find the people to follow and do this with. But I don't work with job seekers. I work with resume writers and career coaches, but I still engage with my members' posts as I have time and come across them. And when somebody asks, hey, I'm sharing this tip on my LinkedIn post. What ideas would you add? Or if I see something I want to, affirm and agree with, I will use a formula that I'm about to share. When I get to that, I promise, for giving a thorough, thoughtful answer, which always means my answer rises to the top for relevancy, so more people see it. And I think it's ironic, also a little scary, because we know how little people read and really look at people's profiles. But I can't ever make one of those posts without a job seeker private messaging me and asking me about working with me for resume writing services. So in my mind, it's like, okay, I'm talking to you about posting here on LinkedIn today, but I couldn't not include this strategy of commenting on those in our industry who have a large number of followers. You're actually helping them in terms of LinkedIn seeing engagement in their post by people spending a longer time on it and commenting on it and liking it. So they're winning, and that's why so often they're asking for you to do so. But then you're winning because you could stand out to a potential job seeker that happened to find them because they had 10,000 to 800,000 followers. And yes, literally there are. Don't be disheartened by that. You don't need 800,000 followers, but there are career professionals, industry professionals who've been out here doing this long enough that yes, they have that many followers. Eek. So let's talk about figuring out where to start. And let me stress today that I know this was in the event description, but a lot of what I talked about, I was going to emphasize was, getting started, because in my prior shows, when we mentioned LinkedIn, I got a lot of comments about, well, I'm really intimidated, or I don't know what to write, or it hasn't worked for me in the past. So I'm kind of going down the list here. This is super thorough of all the things that you can do. And so some of it may seem really basic to you, but I think it's all really value added if this is something you're interested in. And if you want to give me a hashtag yes in the chat, so I know you're on board, we will start going forward. So the best place to start usually is as a lurker. I know I mentioned that so many people are lurking before they're posting or even commenting or liking. but you can get a sense of what other people are writing, what's working. It'll give you a lot of aha moments, because a lot of times I find, I even found this for myself when I started looking at what people were posting on LinkedIn. So much of it is, I'm not going to say it's basic advice, because that's not what I'm saying, but it's the things that you as a resume writer or career coach often take for granted. But the thing is, your job seeking clients, when they come to you, when they find you, it's very, very possible that this is the first time they've ever had to do this. So the resume, the interviewing, the job search strategy, it is all brand new to them. They can have an aha moment with you talking about something as simple as whether they should put their nickname that they prefer to be called on the top line of their resume along with their formal name. So, so by looking at what other people are posting in the industry, it'll give you that opportunity to go, oh, well, I have a different opinion and a slant on that I would like to share. Or, oh, yeah, I could add to that. You'll start getting ideas. You'll see what's working. You'll see how people tend to reuse the same content, even because it is working for them. So how do you find these people? So hold on. So the easiest way to find them is with hashtags, or you can kind of ride the coattails of colleagues that you do know to find them. So, start with the Tory winners. Like, oh, I don't know anybody in the industry. Start with the Tory winners. You can find the Tory winners right on the CDI website. Start with somebody who's earned a top resume writing certification from CDI. Look at who you're connecting with in the live CDI events if you're attending them. And then look at my profile and see who I'm connected to, and look at how many followers they have to decide who to follow. Some of the popular hashtags that those with a lot of followers are using are hashtag, I'm not going to say hashtag every time. They can be job search, interview tips, LinkedIn profile, resume writing, careers, resume tips. So, I did a lot of looking at our leaders on LinkedIn to the hashtags that they were using. And those were the most common ones, either the word with the word tips at the end, or just the phrase like resume writing. All you have to do is go to LinkedIn, and in the search feature, you put in hashtag resume writing, hit enter, and then it will ask you, is this people, posts, do posts, and you'll get a lineup of people who have posted on that subject, and you can scroll down. Obviously, you have to click on them to find out how many followers they have, but it's also not a bad idea to follow people who are posting interesting content, because while they may not have a huge number of followers now, they probably will if they are consistent. So don't be afraid to lurk and follow and connect with your colleagues. And like I said, find them in CDI. The Facebook group does not require you to be a CDI member. All right, let me move on. I'll start rambling on these topics with flu brain here. So ideas for post topics. So I already talked about looking at what your colleagues are doing. Oh, you know what? I want to stop for a second, because I did want to share, if you choose to comment, that formula that I mentioned, I would share. So if you find posts that you decide, okay, I'm comfortable getting out of my quiet zone of lurking, and I'm ready to start engaging. To me, this is safe engagement. So you're only putting yourself out there a little bit when you comment versus when you make your own unique post. So you found a post to comment on. You could potentially be commenting to the author of the post, or you could be commenting to somebody else who's commented in the feed. Like, for instance, there are career professionals out there with so many followers that they will have 100 comments in the first hour. So easily you could be commenting throughout that thread and getting traction right there, which is something LinkedIn also likes to see you doing. The theory is you should be commenting on 10 things a day, which I don't even do that. I don't have the time for that, although I think it sounds wonderful. That's supposed to be your goal for making LinkedIn happy and helping raise your social success index score with LinkedIn. Anyway, so you're commenting, and the best focus on your comments is to mention the person that you're replying to. And you do that on LinkedIn by hitting the @ symbol on your keyboard and then beginning to type their name, and it should populate with their name so you can click on it and tag them. You don't have to put their name at the beginning, but it should be in that comment. You should reiterate the topic of the post, and you should agree with them or share your unique perspective. Like, for instance, I might say, oh, that's so thought-provoking at Wes Cutler. Since Wes is here, he'll be my guinea pig. So that's so thought-provoking at Wes Cutler. I don't think job seekers realize how important it is to leave their street address off of their resume. I'm just riffing here wildly. When I work with job seekers who are looking to move to a new location, I always suggest that they have a mailbox in the city that they're moving to so that they can have that zip code on their resume and show a local presence. Of course, if they're looking for reimbursement on the move that changes, blah, blah, blah. That wasn't the best example, but you get what I'm saying. My process here is reiterate the topic, make the person feel good if it fits in there, tag the person and share your perspective or your added tip that you would give. And don't be afraid to use all of the characters. The last time I checked, I think it was 1,200 characters that you had. But when you do those things, it makes your comment more relevant and it will rise to the top, meaning more people will see it. So definitely consider doing that. All right, if that makes sense to you, give me a #yes in the chat, or let me know what your different process might be on commenting on posts that's working for you. Let's move on to other ideas for post topics. So as I said, don't be afraid to start simply, and I'm going to give you some examples along that line here. One of the things I love to do is to pick a monthly topic. And then create a series around it. I typically post, thank you, Dustin, for letting me know you're with me on this. Okay, so I typically do monthly topics, and I will post on those topics specifically Monday through Friday. And then on Saturday and Sunday, I will do more personalized motivational posts. Some of you are new to me. I usually put up a banner showing the monster that's crying in the background right now, my cat. Today I didn't do it because she's been being quiet. So of course she's going to howl today. Hopefully she stops soon. Please forgive my supervisor. She is very noisy. So, all right, so monthly. For example, September is Update Your Resume Month. It's a registered holiday that CDI registered about 20 years ago. And I was like, okay, perfect. I will look at everything. Again, same thing when I was talking about this video posts I created, looking at what are the mistakes I see people making? What are the questions that job seekers always have? What is the bad advice that's being given that I need to break? And I can create a plan that way. But even to make it more simple for you, you can literally look at with a topic like resume writing, and you could do the same thing with interviewing. You could do the same thing with career change strategy. But the resume, because it is a document with a starting and an end point, can just be an easier visual. So when I did a series on Twitter, I did a 30-day series on Twitter years ago. And this would work for LinkedIn. You're just using more text and visuals and whatnot. But I literally started on the very top line of the resume. And I said, all right, what are all the issues that come up with someone's name that I could address to educate someone? And we have topics like, should they list that they, should it be Dr. Joan Smith Or should they leave off the doctor if it's not applicable to their job? Should they put PhD there if it's not applicable to their job? Should they have the pronunciation of their name if it's difficult? Should they have their preferred, what they would like to be called nickname on that line? So there's like all these topics just on the first line of the resume that could become all one post that you write, or a poll that you create, or a infographic. There's so many different ways you could approach it. It could also become a series of posts if you really wanted to just have short thought a day. But my point is, you could literally talk about resumes for months on end, just going through the different things. And then super neat, if you're keeping a document record of those, there's a possible ebook in the works for you, or a book or something that you could sell. Now, if resume writing is your main business, I would not sell an ebook about resume writing and give away all those secrets, even though it's all just telling and not showing them how to do it. Those are two different things. But I hope that makes sense, that you just pick a topic and consider doing a deep dive. If you are a CDI Association member, when I post the video tomorrow, you'll have it in your inbox, the link to it tomorrow. I will be linking to our content calendar, which will also give you other ideas to think about. But keep it simple. Just pick a topic and focus in on it. And again, I think it's so much easier to do a monthly topic than to do a, I'm going to talk about this today, and I'm going to see what I'm inspired to talk about tomorrow, or I'm jumping around. Make your life simple. Just pick a topic and break it down. Another way that you could do this, still using the same, like I'm talking resumes or I'm talking this or that, is you could look at having different topics, not topics, having different concepts of topic presentation each day. So for instance, one day it's a motivational tip. Another day is a tactical strategy. Another day is an example. I guess I should have said Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So Monday is a motivational tip. Tuesday is a tactical strategy. Wednesday is an example. Thursday is a success story. Maybe Friday is a poll, for example. So you can literally still keep the same content, but be able to spread it out further because you're breaking it up with different angles, getting in those little teaser success stories here and there, doing polls, which are high engagement. LinkedIn really likes those. Sorry, I feel really, really hot. Woo, too many lights, I guess. I don't have a fever anymore, so I don't know. Woo. But I really like that concept. Several people follow it, and it allows you to kind of break out of the monotony of feeling like you have to write long copy every single day, day in, day out. You know, one day you're just sharing a tip. And honestly, my weekend posts I've mentioned are ones where I go more motivational and supportive versus topic heavy training, and they get really good engagement. So mixing stuff up like that is very good. Variety is the spice of life, right? And also, don't be afraid to let people know you, and don't be afraid to take a stand for what matters to you. Your mission, your brand, and why you do what you do, you know, it's very empowering. And honestly, the more personal you can be, the better. I find it very interesting that a lot of people say that they get best engagement with posts that have just a photo of them with the post, or a photo of them off doing something like at Disney World or holding their cats. I mean, try to make it relevant. You can spin. Like, I have a hobby. I'm a Hawaiian hula dancer, and one of my first weekend posts was me in a dance dress, in a dance pose, and big smile on my face, and it said something to the effect of how you spend your weekend sets you up for success in the week, something like that. And that was a way of me bringing in, letting people get to know me. And we're in an engagement society where people want to work with people they know, like, and trust. And when you're on LinkedIn, job seekers aren't necessarily out here going, I'm going to find a resume writer or a career coach today. No, when they stumble upon your post, it could be the first indication they even ever have that there are services for that. Yes, even in this day and age. So you're showing up, you're in the right place at the right time as a fellow human, not as just a business brand trying to, ultimately make a sale. Obviously, it's a win-win when you do, because they get helped and you keep growing your business. So I would love to know, what other topic strategies do you use? Or if you use the day of the week approach, what's your Monday? Throw me something in the chat if you have a favorite strategy. Okay, I am going to really quickly here turn down my air conditioner, so just give me 1 second. Yeah, I'm in Florida, so it's really weird when we get to this time of year where it's only 67 degrees outside, so the air conditioner doesn't run inside, but it's still sticky and gross. So all right. You also want to focus on posts that keep people on the LinkedIn platform and spending longer time engaging. I know I keep talking about this engagement thing, but it's really critical to how LinkedIn decides how much they're going to show your posts. And I know you want job seekers reaching out to you, and you're going to give them that opportunity, because we're going to talk about always having a call to action at the end of your posts. But the goal is to get LinkedIn to be your friend and show your posts to as many people as possible. So we do that by having the kinds of posts that they like and taking the actions that result in longer engagement. So some of these items are long copy posts, meaning you maximize the use of the available characters in the post. Polls. LinkedIn really loves polls. The first time I ever did a poll was to resume writers and career coaches, and I asked them, do you sell cover letters to job seekers? And that was like the first time my engagement, I think my engagement back then was like, it would be like 3, and the number 3, not 3,000 or anything, 3. And I did that poll, and my engagement was like 6,000. Almost, it was like within a day, it was like 6,000. And I was like, oh yeah, I had heard polls were good, but polls are good. Native video is also good. The idea being that someone may choose to stay on and watch the native video longer, meaning longer engagement. A live stream show, again, like what I'm doing here right now. If you're here with me and you're engaging, LinkedIn is like, yes, we like that very much. And then tagging people and interacting with respondents quickly. So in an ideal world, like we said, you would comment on 10 posts a day. In an ideal world, you'd also reply to any comments on your post within an hour. Good luck with that. I think that, there are things that are within the realm of reason. If you happen to be free and someone comments, do it. But as long as you're not completely ignoring the fact that you're getting comments, like you post and you don't go back on for a month, you want to be engaging with them. Now, I mentioned tagging people. So that is a really valuable tool. When I was talking earlier about you're commenting on colleagues' posts, and I mentioned that sometimes they will ask, does anybody have a different thought? So one of the things I put in many of my posts is, what would you add? Let me know in the comments. Or what's another tip you would give? Let me know in the comments. And that's great. But even better is when you can tag some of your colleagues, which is where it also becomes really valuable to have colleagues. And that's why those of you who showed up to, CDI's speed networking quarter day share and receive event yesterday, and who come to CDI's other events, we've still got we have 2 more left this year, 3 if you count the Career Industry Accelerator Club event. But knowing colleagues makes it easy to tag. Now, obviously, you just have to be connected to them to tag them. But all the better if it's somebody who's actually going to respond to you. And I'm going to be talking more about getting people to engage with you in just a little bit. But the idea is tag people. You have a better chance of they'll then see it and engage with it, and you're giving LinkedIn what it asks for. And then finally, in terms of keeping people on the platform, avoid giving too many links, sending people off the platform. You want to use links sparingly. Now, I've heard, very interesting to me, I've heard many times that, oh, don't put a link in the body of the post, put it in the comments, because LinkedIn won't show it to as many people if it knows you're sending people off platform. I've had the opportunity to learn from some really amazing leaders in the LinkedIn world, and every single one of them disputes that. They say that, no, it just seems that way because of course engagement is going to go down when you're not asking somebody to comment and participate in your post. You're asking them to go somewhere. And not often are people going to go, but you're not going to have any indication on the platform whether they went or not. So it's not going to hurt you if you use them in that way. But again, your goal here is to get people engaging with you and wanting to take action on the call to action. When I have mine, which I'll be sharing with you in just a little bit, I promise, so that you have a formula for how to create yours, I don't even include my URL. I always have an image that has my URL written at the bottom of it. And I know if somebody's interested, all they have to do is click on me and go to my profile and they'll see my website. So it's not a hard thing to do for them to find me if I have convinced them that they need to talk to me. So you can still push people to reach out to you without having to give them a link. And there are situations where you will want to have a link, like when I'm trying to get somebody to sign up for a specific event, I might do that. But you can also use a QR code embedded right in the image to avoid having to share a link. And that's super cool. They just get their phone out. And so, all right. Anybody have any questions? Please drop them in the chat as we go, okay? All right. Next topic is mixing up media style. So, I talked about the different things you might do each day in terms of topics, but the other thing is mixing media. And I did talk a little bit about media styles, like we mentioned, videos and polls. But with LinkedIn, unlike Instagram, where you can't post at all if you don't have an image or a video, with LinkedIn, you can post a plain text post. You don't have to have any accompanying images or videos. So you could have, one day you could have just text, another day you could have text and an image, another day you could have a video. Doesn't have to be a long video. It doesn't even have to be a video of you talking. It can be a video of something that represents something that makes them stop. I posted one on one of my weekend motivational posts. It was kind of maybe a little bit dark. I shouldn't probably say motivational, but I posted this one that literally I got off of Canva. I was searching for something and it popped up and I was like, oh, light bulb, I'm going to use that. And it's this close up of this guy's face. And there's this tear trying to pinch out of his eye, and he just looks really stressed and sad. And eventually he reaches up and wipes his eye. And I just put text on it that said, every time I see a job seeker say they can write their resume themselves. And then of course, career directors at the bottom. And I had text to go along with it in the body of the post, but short video. Same thing with GIFs, or you might say GIFs, however you pronounce it, GIF. You can have those, and I have a source for those I'm going to share in a second too. Carousels. Anybody here doing carousels? Let me know in the chat. But this is where you can string up to 10 images together to basically tell a story, and people can swipe through them. LinkedIn makes it a little bit creative. My tip for you will be you're basically down, and if you have Canva, they make it so easy, but you'll have to make sure you've numbered them 1 through whatever so that they're in the correct order. But Canva will let you download them directly as a PDF. If you're not using Canva, you have to add them together in your own PDF, because as crazy as it may be, the only way to have a carousel of multiple images on LinkedIn is by uploading a PDF instead of uploading image files. But I almost lost a year off my life figuring that one out initially. So there's the other thing you could do is you can have videos with audio over them. I see this a lot more on Instagram than I do on LinkedIn, but I do see it showing up. I feel like LinkedIn is becoming more like Instagram. We see reel type videos, and LinkedIn supports the reel type video sizes. But the ones where the person is just like, it's them, the person for their own brand, and they're just typing and they're thinking, and audio is rolling over it, or captions are rolling over it. So you can like make these little mini videos yourself and then add audio over it if you want to. So there's all different sorts of things. You can mix it up. And again, variety and attracting people with different learning styles. You just never know what's going to catch somebody's eye. So if you just want to do straight text, do it. But I would mix in at least some images, some polls for sure, some GIFs because they're relatively easy. So resources, and I would love to hear any resources you guys recommend in the chat. Please let me know. But some of the resources I use for these different formats are, when it comes to reels and videos, for reel style videos, I use InStories app. It's an iPhone app. I don't know if it's available on Android, but I tried a whole bunch, and that was one that I liked, and I've created a whole lot of them in there, and I think it's relatively easy once you figure it out. But a pretty cool hack, if you have a little video clip that you want to use, or sometimes you have like this little tiny video, and maybe you don't have Canva to stretch it out or pile it up with multiple bits of it so it keeps playing. What you can do, or you just want to add some text like a reel, but keep it video sized, like the little horizontal video. You can go into your free Instagram account and act like you're creating a reel or post. I believe it's only the reel that you get to add text. So act like you're creating a reel and add your text. Or if your video, if LinkedIn was like, that video is too short, because I have had that happen, and I'm like, are you kidding me? This was supposed to make my life easy, and now you're telling me it's too short. How is that even possible? I thought we only had to worry about it being too long. Anyway, you put it in there. You can drop it in multiple times in Instagram, and it just plays smoothly. So you have this 2-second video. Just drop it in 4 times. Now it's 8 seconds. LinkedIn is happy. Add your text. And then if you're not going to post it on Instagram, that's fine. Before you hit post, there's an opportunity to download that video, which is super cool. It has no branding for your Instagram account on it. And now you have the video that you can use on LinkedIn with your text or whatever added features you wanted to put, except sound. You can't add a song on Instagram and have it come over. That won't happen. But still, it's great for everything else. I've mentioned Canva many times. I'm a big fan of Canva Pro. Images, videos, templates, carousel templates, super convenient. Everything you need is there. You just go in, you pick like, I am guilty of just defaulting to the 1080 by 1080 image size, which is the Instagram size, but LinkedIn really likes it, and it gives me the flexibility to use it in both places. And then I pick themes and play around and find what I want. Saves a ton of time not having to customize. But if you want more options, Etsy has tons of templates for sale for carousels and posts and whatnot. So you can go on Etsy.com and find them for very inexpensive. Like I think I bought when I was first getting started and didn't realize what a candy store Canva Pro was for such a low annual rate. I think I bought like 1,127 carousel posts or something crazy like that for like $27. But they were ones that I liked. I surfed around, but it's so ridiculously inexpensive to do that. Giphy.com, Giphy, will let you create GIFs. I think everybody knows what a GIF is, but it's basically like a super short little video snippet. You see them on all the social media channels. But the neat thing there is you can go on there, search for a subject, find it, then you can add your own text and download it and use it as your own unique GIF for a post. And I tend to only use those on weekends, but I used one from the movie Office Space one weekend about what it was great. One of the reasons it was great to be an entrepreneur working from home. I did one recently on the who moved my cheese concept of change, where I had somebody smelling cheese and anyway, you get the idea. And I mentioned there's videos of yourself. You can also do a photo shoot. I'm not trying to be dorky, but I mentioned that a lot of people say that they get the most likes and comments on posts with pictures of themselves. Well, you want to have a variety of pictures of yourselves. It's not just that portrait. I literally got my big old ring light out. I have one of those. I have a little ring light and then I have a big old ring light because I didn't have great lighting. We have kind of ambient lighting in our house, that tiki bar mystique. So I needed bright light and clarity. And I brought all my outfits and did the fashion plate show where I was like, doing all those things that we see more often on Instagram, but knowing that I could add this to an image later where I'm pointing to a text box or saying, come here, or, you've got this or whatnot. Super easy. I have like 100 images that I took. And I can think of like so many more I wish I had taken that I need to go and do. All right, let me stop there and just ask, if you're posting now, what's your favorite format to use or the one that seems to get the most traction for you? Media, no media, type of media? Let me know in the chat, please. All right, we're about 2/3 of the way through because most everything I have left to talk about are little topics. So I keep mentioning the CTA or the call to action. So it's really important once you've written your perfect post, you might have to shorten it because you always want to be able to include a call to action at the end. And that is, and you'll see your colleagues doing it, it's usually where you say who you are, what you do, and maybe how to connect. So I'm just going to read you mine so you have an example. The one I most often use: I'm Laura DiCarlo, and I'm president of Career Directors International, a global professional association of resume writers and career coaches. I'm committed to ensuring career industry pros like you have all the tools and resources you need to love what you do and attain unlimited success without the stress. Check out the free stuff section on our website or DM me if you need help now. So yours might be more focused on, my name's Tom Jones, and I'm an award-winning resume writer or career coach, or I'm a 3X certified resume writer. I help job seekers to land their dream job within 90 days. DM me if you'd like to schedule a free consultation. It could be something like that. But the idea is you are telling them what, you're not just giving advice. That's like that, no close, no call to action. You want to have that call to action on there always, so they know who you are, why you're there, and what they should do if they want more. Okay, A fun one, use emojis in your posts. If you're like totally not emojified person, don't use emojis. I don't want you to go off brand for who you are. But I find it super interesting that about 5 years ago, I had a headline with emojis, and God, I got a lot of flack on that. Like, this is not professional. You shouldn't do that. Um, and now as I go up and down LinkedIn, and I even get emails from like my email service provider, ActiveCampaign, and the social media marketing groups I belong to. Oh my gosh. So, and maybe not ActiveCampaign, maybe I was just thinking about the social media marketing groups I belong to. It's just like packed with emojis. Um, I was showing my sister one of my posts, and she's like, "That's a lot of emojis," and I'm like, "Yeah, but look at the people who train on this stuff." She's like, "Oh my goodness, so you don't actually have a lot of emojis." But here's the idea: when you're maximizing the text in a post, and you have, I'm embarrassed, is it 2,000 characters? They keep changing things on me. Maybe it's 2,200 characters now. That can be a lot of text. So how do you break it up? How do you make it more eye friendly in today's I don't want to read, I just want to look society? So you can do that by using emojis. Um, and I love them. I think they're fun. It can be a pain in the butt if you're creating your posts on a, on a PC or a desktop computer. Not always can you get a keyboard loaded that is that great. I, for the longest time, was actually either putting them in Dropbox or emailing them to myself so I could get on my phone and add them. Oh God, such a nightmare. I was like, I hate this. I hate emojis. Um, and then I started using Buffer, a scheduling software, um, for scheduling my posts across social media. And I love it because I like literally can seamlessly go back and forth between desktop and phone. And I create, be honest, I create a lot of my posts while I'm lying on the couch. I know I should be sitting on the couch, but I have a pretty serious injury. I sit on a special chair when I'm here with you guys at my desk, but any other time I'm either on my special chair or I'm lying down. So I'll be lying down and I'll be writing my post and putting in my emojis. But it just made life so much easier. That to me, that's worth the $30 right there for Buffer every month, just to add emojis easily, let alone the time I save in scheduling stuff. And no, I'm not paid by Buffer to promote them. But yes, consider using emojis. Use hashtags. I am not a hashtag guru. What I do to figure out hashtags is I, see what other people are using. But honestly, I go into LinkedIn and I put hashtag and I start typing what I think it should be. And I tend to pick whatever is coming up highest. Instagram, I really like Instagram for figuring out hashtags, even if you're not posting there, like just grab any image. And then when you're in the text part, put the hashtag, start write resume. It'll show you how many people use that hashtag, and you'll be able to see the popularity. LinkedIn doesn't do that. And I know there are tools out there, but I would love it if anybody wants to put any in the chat that you're using to figure out hashtags, because every time I think I have a good hashtag tool, it's a piece of dirt and I don't like it. It doesn't work. So my experience with hashtags is use Instagram, or use what your colleagues are using who have tons of followers, because that's what works. LinkedIn is kind of a fan of only having 4 hashtags on a post. So don't go like Instagram. It's like, how many hashtags can you have? Not so on LinkedIn. So keep it simple. 4 focused hashtags. Stay consistent with daily posting. Some of the best advice I ever heard, which is also the one that will make you go, oh, you're killing me here, is that you should post 7 days a week at the same time. And that's, again, also why using some kind of scheduling tool is very beneficial. And yes, each one of the platforms has scheduling in it. I'm not a super big fan of using scheduling on LinkedIn unless I need to tag someone in the post. Um, I'm pretty sure that Buffer would let me tag people, but I just haven't spent the time to figure that out. It has a tag thing, but it didn't let me tag people. So when I have to tag people or want to tag people, I go straight to LinkedIn. But I don't love it because if you like, oh, I need to change something in that post, the only thing you can change is the time it's scheduled for. If you need to actually change anything in the post, you basically want to make a copy of it because you can view it, and then delete it and start over, which is just a huge waste of time. Um, but really, posting 7 days a week, same time every day, that consistency will grow your following. And by using things like CTAs, you will help get people actually interested. All right, I talked about tagging people in posts already, but I did want to talk about social support pods. So to me, this is a really interesting subject. Some people are going to be gasping when they watch the video and go, oh, she talked about pods. Oh my goodness, it's so disreputable. Pods are not disreputable. Let me tell you what pods are. Pods are going to save you. If you have very, very little following, or you just find this whole thing really stressful of being out there all alone fighting the big LinkedIn sea. A pod is where you get with some of your colleagues and you're like, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. And um, each day when you post, you like and comment on each other's posts. And ideally, your pod is, I wouldn't say start this big because, that's a lot of work. Remember when I said 10 comments a day? So you have a pod of 10. But start easier than that. Start with like a pod of 5 people who you're going to support each other on this posting journey. Now, the reason why I kind of laugh at the people who feel like it's disingenuous is a lot of people who say it's disingenuous is exactly how they built their 10,000 to 100,000 followers to begin with. If you started out in the beginning and you've been consistent, you might have been able to do it on your own. But for a lot of people, it was through support. And I'm going to be really, really honest. It can feel like lonely and sad when you're like, I just put out the best content possible and I didn't get a single like. And when you're in a pod of colleagues, or other business associates, it doesn't have to be necessarily your specific industry colleagues, although I think that's beneficial. But when they're like reading what you wrote or watching your 2-minute video or whatnot, and they're chiming in, you don't feel alone out there in the LinkedIn sea. You feel heard and listened to and respected, and you go and engage with them. And there's always that possibility that one of their followers sees you and wants to engage with you. So it's a win-win. I mentioned earlier where you can find people through CDI specifically because, we just do so many engagement events. I'm sure other organizations have training and whatnot, but like with the speed networking event yesterday, I was reading through the comments on it and people were like, Laura just does it better than anyone else. And I'm not saying that to brag, but I've probably invested $5,000 on becoming certified to do engaging networking events and programming. It's in my DNA now to make sure that people get connected. So if you're coming into the Facebook group, there's daily prompts for you to get to know each other. If you're attending the live CDI events, well, the one like yesterday, you got connected with everybody who came because it was all structured for everybody to share who they were, what they needed, and what they had to offer in return. But other events, we have one-to-one breakouts where you get to do a deep dive with one other person. So, but you could also just look at things like, just as I said earlier, if I said it, maybe I think I said it, you could go to the Tory winners, see if there's anybody you know there. You could go to other certified people. You could go to the membership list, see if there's anybody who specializes in what you specialize in, or conversely, offers a service you wish you offered. Like if you're a resume writer and they're an interview coach, that can be a great camaraderie to set up because you're not competing with each other, but you can support each other. So I can't recommend enough having the support structure of a few other people who are in it with you, and you're both helping each other to rise faster. Okay, a couple more points here. Consider a live stream show. That's a commitment. It's something you do every week. There's a learning curve to it. Most shows are 20 to 30 minutes, and I expect that once I get past these deep dive topics, ours will calm down to more like 30 minutes, but I've been wanting to just give lots of great content to everyone. I can always talk about shows later. The most popular platforms are Restream and StreamYard. I'm not going to go into it because it's a whole subject unto itself. Some other things to consider. I mentioned Buffer. That's not the only scheduling tool out there, but I happen to be in love with it. It's really great if you're posting to multiple channels, and you can customize for each channel. If you're feeling completely overwhelmed by the things I've told you today, like when am I going to do all these posts that Laura is talking about? You could consider a VA. And if you're like, how am I going to pay for a VA? I'm going to be like, get in CDI and start learning how to price and profit from your services better. But on top of that, you could also hire an offshore VA. There are some really talented people out there. And I've seen work of VAs that are as little as $7 an hour who can help you if you create those video clips and those photos and give them direction to create. I mean, will it be your perfect voice? Not necessarily, but they can also do the posting for you if you create the content. So there are many ways to get started with this, but the idea is to start and to commit. And if you don't have the time, it might be time to do a deep dive into your schedule and figure out what is eating up your time. Like, for instance, when I most often take on new one-to-one clients, the first thing I want to look at is their packages, their pricing, their closing rate, because how are we going to find time for you to change and optimize? We're going to do that by making sure you're closing, you're not leaving money on the table with consults that don't close. So you have a consult, you make a sale. We're going to make sure you're not closing sales at too low of a rate or you're working all the time. When we do those things, wow, we free up time, period. And then you have time to do things like this. You have time to do what I've helped so many to do, which is take Fridays off. So it is possible to find time, but things might have to shift to do that. All right, so that's me on LinkedIn posting. So if you gain some good ideas or feel more confident about getting started with a posting strategy now, why don't you let me know in the chat? Give me a hashtag yes or a hashtag ready. I would love to hear from you. And let me just share with you what we have going down the rest of this year. If you are a CDI Association member, on Thursday, December 7th, we have ChatGPT for leery and curious career industry pros. I will actually be sharing my screen and talking about using it for resume writing and career services. And then on Thursday, the 14th, we have a Build Your 90-Day Plan with CDI orientation. And then I think the third Wednesday of the month, I don't have that on here, we have our Career Industry Accelerator Club, which is our inner circle of CDI. They get group coaching and individual support from me. And we're doing a included training on group programs, because eventually, if you're doing a lot of one-on-one, you're going to hit a ceiling with how much you can do. And as always, in everything but the Career Industry Accelerator, we always have opportunities for networking with at least one colleague one-on-one, so you can make those deep connections. So I'm hoping this gave you more food for thought on how you can leverage LinkedIn posting as a strategy to create engagement, following, and future conversions into sales. Remember, you've got to warm them up, and it takes time. All right, Dustin says, this was extremely helpful. LinkedIn posting has been an opportunity for me, and you share a lot of great tips I can put into practice. Thanks for taking the time to share your knowledge today. Thanks, Dustin. I appreciate you chiming in, because like you get to the point where you're like, am I here alone? I don't even know. So I really appreciate you, and I'm glad LinkedIn has been working for you and that you got some great ideas. So, all right. So remember, none of these strategies are complex or inaccessible, and you don't even have to have a premium membership, a paid membership to do them. I mean, it is beneficial, but if it's not possible right now, just start getting active, make it a commitment, um, and show up to the CDI events. Chime in on posts with comments. Commit to posting 7 days a week, which requires planning and possibly some support. And go back to the earlier shows if you're looking for other strategies. We did talk about, like I said, customer referrals, and we talked about partnerships and professional referrals. So, all right, we know Dustin found it beneficial. If anybody else has anything else to add, let me know in the chat. I want to know who's excited. Next Wednesday at our regular time, 3:45, I'm going to be talking about mindset strategies for getting out of your own way and bashing imposter syndrome for visibility. I've decided to hold off on the profile of a six-figure plus career industry pro. That is going to be our New Year show. So between now and then, I will be talking about a lot of subjects I hear coming up and being needed. So if you want more and you want support, listen, CDI is the place to be. Let me show you this here. So if you are not an association member of CDI, I would encourage you to act quickly if you would like all the benefits of CDI and the ability to make 2 to 3 times the rates of your colleagues, because our cyber rates are going to end on Friday. I mentioned that earlier, but it will end on Friday, the opportunity to save 34% on annual. But more importantly, as I said, we're going to be closing registration completely on the 15th of December, and then we will have a wait list. But if you're like, oh, I'm so new to CDI, I don't know what's going on, if you go over to this URL or just go to careerdirectors.com and click on free stuff, you'll have the ability to join our community and take part in the excitement and energy and support that happens there. You'll have the opportunity to look at some deep dive lessons and learn from them. In fact, I'm kind of a fan of the fact that we have a testimonial on the page from one of our members in Nigeria who says how he was able to build a 6-figure business before he even became a member, just using what he learned in the free resources. And he is a member today, and he did comment on one of my posts a couple weeks ago saying that he's, I think, up to 115,000 or 120 coming in for this year. So he's still continuing to grow. So imagine if it's that good in the free stuff, how good it could be on the inside. But it's overwhelming. There's a lot there. So I encourage you to take the 1-minute quiz to find out what's blocking you from building a 6-figure income as a career industry professional. Not only will you get those results, but it will curate for you the free resources, telling you where to focus to get the most leverage for your specific block. So definitely go check those things out. And when you're on the site, you're going to see the banner for the cyber offers so that you can jump on those if you want to join us. Now, as always, I do have a bonus for members. We have a couple of lessons that I will be including that are relevant to today's topic. And then I have a unique prompt. This one is on fine-tuning, a prompt meaning an AI, like ChatGPT prompt. So this week's is on making sure your LinkedIn profile headline is on target. So please, if you want more of the show, be sure to like, follow, and subscribe, because I look forward to seeing you here with me next Wednesday at 3:45 p.m. Eastern, so we can talk about mindset and success. So until then, I'm wishing everyone success and that you go fly higher. Thank you.